So I'm a little torn on this because actually, in some instances, I'm somewhat sympathetic to real fans being concerned that too many radical things are being done to certain fictional characters, whether Batman, Superman, Spider Man, and so on and so forth. So, for instance, Robin apparently is now canonically gay in the DC comics. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's a really, really bad idea. I know Robin. I've read a ton of Robin comic books that does not align with my idea of the comic book character. And apparently, we're getting some similar nonsense with the Joker and him being pregnant. And Jeremy of Geeks and Gamers is going to explain or not explain why this is bad.
Here. And of course, these are meant to actually like create the imagery to normalize this nonsensical fictional kind of idea that they have created. This is meant to normalize that. And that's all this is. So another example that we continue to be right, we continue to be proven right, and these people are disgusting freaks, and there's no line that they will not cross. Unbelievable. I'll have more to, I'm going to look further into this to see what's going on with the actual comic itself, but there is no scenario where this is acceptable or okay. There's no scenario in which that takes place.
Well, as always, Jeremy puts in his typical non-effort because we just have the panel. So this is true. The Joker apparently is pregnant in this story. And that's about it. He's just outraged. It's not clear why he's outraged. He's just like, this is just a freaking weirdo activist thingy. What is the activism? What is the motivation? Who even made the comic? He doesn't tell us. So we've got literally nothing. It's just Jeremy looking at pregnant Joker and getting really angry and preemptively telling us there is no way a story could justify the Joker being pregnant. A fictional story, by definition, could justify anything. That's what makes it a fictional story. You fucking moron. Usual terrible job by Jeremy. But let's move beyond that. I don't like this YouTuber either, but Yellowflash at least put in a little bit more effort and provided extra context, which I think we need.
I'll repeat, the Joker wakes up in the morning and discovers that he's pregnant. I didn't make that up. Just look at the picture below. So the Joker goes to the hospital and prepares to give birth, and he winds up throwing up a mud monster instead. A violent, gun-filled chase commences, but then it is discovered that the mud creature has morphed into a child-sized version of the Joker. The Joker accepts the thing as his son and shows him off to Santana, taunting her over the family she could have had with him. Boy, oh boy, manga, you better watch out. American Comics is coming for you.
Well, there's many wrong things that Yellowflash said, like the Joker is not interested in women. Okay, you do realize the Joker had a massive history before Harley Quinn, which included women in the comic books as well as the other adaptations. Just think of Vicky Vale, right? Remember that? Remember, for instance, in the TV show, the Joker often had a girlfriend. Again, granted, romance has not been central to his character before Harley Quinn. That is true, but to say he has no relationships with women is kind of stupid and silly. But let's just jump into the main thing now. So, the Joker is pregnant apparently because he tried to go after Zatanna, who is a magician, and Zatanna played a cruel spell, which backfired on her because she meant to punish the Joker, but it ended up he was able to get pregnant. And it's kind of disgusting, but basically he throws up a mud version of himself, and that is, quote, his child. Now, like I said, I actually agree with them in principle. If something is going too far with the character, whether Spider-Man with an Iron Man suit, Robin being gay, you're just doing something that canonically really does not fit the character. You want to be careful about what you can do with a character, but it is kind of normal for these characters to either lose their power or to gain extraordinary abilities far beyond the powers they already have. So again, you're free to be flexible and change the character. And I got to be honest, the more I learn about this contextually, this is not really much of an issue. This is the Joker. The Joker is pretty extraordinary in fiction that he can be very flexible. You can just do a lot of things with the Joker that would disturb other characters, but with him, really doesn't mean anything, or it doesn't cheapen the character. It may enhance the character. So him, by accident, being pregnant and having this weird mud mutant creature child, that kind of is something that would happen to the Joker in the DC universe. There is an intersection between Batman and the supernatural sometimes. So we're just seeing an instance of this. So I'm not seeing what we're supposed to be panicking about. Now, I will say and I need to get back into it more. I have tried to sample some of the newer Batman media. I do actually agree with what Yellowflash says, that they're putting out too much Batman material in the comic books and elsewhere. So they're really saturating the market. I think that's a bad thing. There are just way too many Batman characters. They're doing way too many things in Gotham. He basically has an army now, apparently, DC Comics. I don't think that's a good idea. I actually agree in principle. They're doing a lot of things to damage the Batman mythos, but they are doing some things to enhance it. For instance, now Clayface apparently is an ally of Batman. I think that's kind of intriguing. It's kind of a mixed bag. I agree, there are definitely alarming signs when they change the characters for no reason and do a lot of damage. But again, it can be done in a respectful way that enhances the character. For instance, like when Willow was made gay in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I thought that was very well done. It doesn't matter if Joss Whedon's a hypocrite as a male feminist. It was a well done story. They did it gradually. People, even inside the story, had questions, they had concerns. There was a back and forth. It wasn't just pure, everyone loves Willow. Oh, you're gay. Now I'm gay. Everything's gay. No, that's not the story. It was well done. I'm going to have to look at this comic book more carefully. And I agree with some of the criticisms they made, but the actual specific issue here, well, how could they make the Joker pregnant? This thing has been done in fiction before. This isn't like an exceptional, extraordinary thing that's never been thought of. Again, a lot of false panic. I do agree, though, we want to be careful of changing characters too radically. We have to be careful, even in fiction. There should be some limitations, but I don't see the major issue here in this particular case. It just seems the more and more we learn about it, it's a really odd, silly story. But then again, the Joker is an extremely odd and silly character, and extraordinary things do happen to him.
This stuff for rage clicks, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't matter how many times we're proven right. And here we have yet another glaring example of how social justice freaks will destroy anything, and there's no line they won't cross. Shout out to Melanie Mack for bringing this to our attention during Tuesday night's main event. She was a guest on the show, and she did great. So if you guys missed this week's episode of Tuesday night's main event, you should totally go check that out. But right here we have it.
What do you do? Because they've let all of this rot hit the industry with these people that want to push gender ideology and all this other stuff. Do you reject it? Well, then you have the risk of them calling you a bigot on Twitter. And you're canceled. And this gets, like, look at the review keeps pounding. Recommend if nothing could ever stop your addiction to buy comics, you always wanted to see the Joker pregnant and trying to give birth. Overall, comics are overpriced. Their contents are either sub-mediocre or feature the writers exposing their fetishes. That's a damn good point. This is a great review. One of the few times I have actually seen a comics outlet give an honest review, because Bleeding Cool and CBR are going to praise this as the greatest comic book ever made. It's very progressive, all of that stuff. When really it's disgusting.